We're gonna let you take over the show, okay? All right. Alrighty. So just repeat after me. Say, "Hey, everybody."
Hey, everybody.
Don't you like?
Don't you like?
My red shirt.
My red shirt.
Say, I hope.
I hope.
Everybody becomes.
A
Woodsongs partner.
A Woodsongs partner.
So I can come back.
So I can come back.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Come back again. So I'm going to let you introduce Abe, okay? Because he's ready to get in position here, okay? So he's very anxious. He was very anxious to get. You notice he got up like 4 times. Get ready to play this. Now, while we were doing the show, I got another text from someone in Virginia, and they said, "I love the Springsteen comparison. He's one of the best artists you ever had on Woodsongs." Oh, wow. So what do you think of that?
That's cool.
A lot of people are writing in.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead, and I'm going to let you introduce them. Say, "Ladies and gentlemen."
Ladies and gentlemen.
Please welcome.
Please welcome.
Someone. Almost good as me.
Almost good as me.
Abe Partridge.
Abe Partridge.
Why, thank you, Boogie Boy. Mighty fine piano playing. I have a couple of children myself, and I'd be awful proud if one of my kids could play the piano that fine. So this is well, y'all give it up for the Boogie Boy. Thank y'all for having me and putting up with this kind of foolishness. This is a song I wrote called Abe Partridge's 403rd Freakout. I wrote it in 25 minutes, and it took me 6 months to learn it. I hope you like it. Well, sometimes I think we're already dead, or this trap that I call time is just some inception like dream state I'm in as I lay dying. And I think maybe we never existed at all. We're just some 5-sensed hallucination, or just the mirror image of a high reality beyond our comprehension. And I lie awake at night, I can't keep my mind from wondering about what it all means, that I have the ability to wonder what it all means. Do you know that nobody in this whole wide world can give you the definition of consciousness that doesn't venture off into religion or some kind of absurdist pseudoscience? And since I started listening to both sides without caring on to which side I fell, well, I found out there were more than 2 sides, if you really want to know a subject well, which only led me to more heartbreak as I thought about all the fights that have been started by 2 sides, and neither one of them were truly wrong or right. Then I considered the brutality that I witness every day, and how numb to the sight of human suffering I've become in my middle age. Now all the fascists and the commies are spewing out their dogmas and taking over the conversation. Any voice that's devoid of an agenda has been removed from consideration. And I started thinking about the weapons of mass destruction, biological, chemical, and nukes, and that we could have them all fired from the push of a button of an orange presidential buffoon. And so I started reading up on how to survive a nuclear apocalypse, and after my research I concluded I didn't even want to survive to live in a world like that. So even if I try to be positive and convince myself that someday we might actually see peace, well, it's then that I realize in like 1 billion years or so our planet's gonna cease to be, because the sun has gravity too, you know, and we're being pulled in as we orbit. If we don't find a way to destroy ourselves, then the sun's gonna do it for us. And so, la 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 la, la la devil's playground. It's the devil's playground. Well, then my mind turned to the scientists, explorers, and the greatest amongst us all, who gave their lives to learning and research and made great discoveries about the world. Then it occurred to me that all truth exists long before some learned man makes it known. I mean, if you think about it, E don't equal MC squared just 'cause Einstein said it was so. And now considering this, science kind of seems like a waste. I'm gonna devote myself to art. At least an artist creates something of value, a unique representation of his heart. But then I looked around at this plastic world and their frowning faces and their disdain for beauty, and I saw all these poor starving artists dwelling at the fringes of a cold society. But you know that we would not have Fur Elise if it were not for an individual named Beethoven. And we'd certainly not have the White Album if Paul McCartney never met John Lennon. And I said, well, maybe that's my problem. I miss my Lennon. Somehow that chance done passed me by. And that's the reason I'm standing here singing this stupid song and losing my freaking mind. And then even this stranger thought my tortured mind began to ponder. Lord, I wonder what if Einstein would have met McCartney first while John Lennon was studying the great wonders. I mean, I ain't saying it would have been the Beatles, man, but it would have been interesting to see what they put out. Because I know that Einstein had some pretty cool hair, but I wonder if he could twist and shout. And maybe if Einstein had been singing, oh, blah-da, instead of drafting the letter to Roosevelt that paved the way for a nuclear bomb, then a little boy from Nagasaki could have married a pretty young girl from Hiroshima, and they could have sang, oh, blah-da together and taught their children songs by the Beatles. And I can't imagine that the guy that wrote Imagine would have been any use in a science lab unless that lab had the sole purpose of giving world peace a chance. So we gotta give Lennon to science and Einstein to McCartney. We gotta find a way to get back in time. But then I realized if we ever build a time machine, it'll be based on the scientific work of Albert Einstein. So la 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 la, la 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 la, turn off your mind. La 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 la, la 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 la, turn off your mind. La 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 la, la 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 la, turn off your mind. Because an active mind is the devil's playground. Devil's playground.